Okay, Danielle joins us now, and we are expecting more snow.
Another round. Now, for Calgary specifically, this round won't be as significant as the last one, but it will be enough that you may have to shovel out there if you're not in a condo or a townhouse where somebody else shovels for you. Okay, -4 is the base temperature with the wind chill. It feels more like -6. Again, wind chill, we're dealing with this for the next few days, really until next week. Okay, when we look at these next 24 hours, your 24-hour forecast is brought to you by 5th Avenue Volkswagen, where you can win your ride. See dealer for details or visit 5thavvw.com. Let me give you an idea of the timeline here, but before we even get to the snowfall, tomorrow morning it will be a cold start. -19 is what it will feel like with the wind chill when off to work and school. The clouds will increase throughout the day, and closer to about 6 p.m., 7 p.m. is when we get into the chance of more consistent snowfall. We may see some flurries ahead of that, but it will really pick up by tomorrow night. We'll talk more about this just ahead. Ian?
Okay, Danielle, you talked earlier about wind chill.
Yeah.
So we're getting serious, hey?
Here's my question. Are you used to winter yet? Does your body feel like it's getting accustomed?
I think I'm halfway there.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So by the time you get there, we'll warm up again.
Okay.
Later next
Fine with
week.
that.
Okay, good. All right. So we do have some shoveling that we're going to have to do for especially Friday. Digging out a little bit in Calgary, certainly for areas south of Calgary where more snow is expected. And really it's quiet tonight, and it will start to roll in this next system tomorrow to some communities. I'll give you the timeline in just a second, but here's that wind chill that Ian was talking about. Now, in some places, the wind is calm, so we're not dealing with wind chill. Or we're just at the freezing mark and not below freezing yet, not dealing with wind chill. But in Claresholm, for example, the base temperature is -3. It feels closer to -5. Lethbridge feels closer to -6. And in Calgary, we feel closer to -8 at the moment. No wind chill in Medicine Hat. At the moment, anyway. All right, before we get into the snowfall forecast, just to quickly touch on the fact that we're looking at fog patches possible in all communities in southern Alberta tonight and early tomorrow morning, especially east of Brooks. This is where it should be more dense, and visibility will greatly be reduced tonight and tomorrow morning because of that. Now let's talk about the snow and this next system on the way. We just have the clouds right now. The winds will start to pick up a little tomorrow. It will be a little windy at times, so not just snow, but blowing snow is the possibility. There's a peak at the system. I'm going to give you the hour by hour here so you have the timeline, most likely timeline. So by the time we get into the noon hour, just after the noon hour, that's when it should start to roll into Pincher Creek, Crow's Nest Pass area, and then it'll start to move into the Lethbridge area closer to 4 p.m. This will mainly impact the far south, but it will creep up into Calgary. We're just not looking at the snowfall totals that they're going to get to the far south. Then you can see it starts to move up Highway 2. Time of arrival for Calgary is closer to 7 p.m., and then it will shift off to the east to the Medicine Hat area, especially overnight into Friday morning. For Calgary, this should be out around the noon hour on Friday, and then it'll take its time to weed its way out of the southeast corner on Friday. All right, when we look at amounts, of course, further to the south where the system's coming from, that's where we're looking at the higher amounts, certainly possible. 20 centimeters for Pincher Creek, Lethbridge, 24 possible for Milk River. Tabor's looking at 15 centimeters. So that's where the snow will be more concentrated and more consistent. For Calgary, we're looking at anywhere from 5 to 7 centimeters. And you can really look at that from Okotoks up to Airdrie, a little less off to the west for once. So Cochrane and Banff, you're looking at less snowfall, just a couple centimeters from this. -6 will be our daytime high tomorrow, 5 centimeters. That will start again later in the day, in the early evening hours likely, and carry into Friday, where we're looking at another 1 to 2 centimeters possible Friday morning. By then, just a high of -10, but we will get above the freezing mark by Monday.
You did give us a glimmer of hope in that it's warming up by early next week, right?
Yeah. I mean, you'll notice a difference by Sunday, but it'll still be below freezing on Sunday. When we get into next week, we'll get above freezing, and there will be some melting going on. So you can't wear your best shoes then.
Ooh.
Because, you know, all the slushy, messy stuff. I mean, we're dealing with that now anyway. -4 is the current temperature. Today's high was -2. Normal is 0. We're nowhere near that record of 18.3 for this day. All right, snowfall starts late in the day, likely closer to the supper hours in the city, if not the early evening hours, and carries through the overnight hours, anywhere from 5 to 7 centimeters possible.
Let's get our first look at the forecast. Danielle joins us now. Some cooler days ahead.
Yes, cooler, and we have snow in the forecast once again, and it will be enough to have to dig out. Now, in Calgary, it won't be quite as much as the last round, but enough that you will notice. And then further to the south, certainly some higher amounts expected. -5 is the current temperature at the airport. With the wind chill, it feels more like -7. Looking at the next 24 hours, the key thing, look at that wind chill overnight, -20. In the morning when off to work and school, it will feel more like -19. And by 7 p.m., we get into the chance of some snowfall. We'll talk more about that snowfall coming up, Tara.
Thank you, Danielle. Let's bring Danielle back in now as we look ahead of our 5-day forecast.
Yes, and it's cold for the rest of this week, but we will see an improvement in temperature, and we will be above the freezing mark by next week. So you have to hold on and get through. I mean, by the time it gets warmer, our body gets accustomed to the colder weather anyway. But we are looking at wind chill being a factor for the rest of this week. At this point, it's not as big a deal because the winds are pretty calm. But in Calgary, the base temperature is -5. It feels closer to -7 with that wind chill. Claresholm feels more like -7 as well, and Medicine Hat feels more like -13. The winds are calm enough in Lethbridge that it really just feels like the actual base temperature of -5. Before we get into the snowfall talk, what we do have right now is a fog advisory that is in place, and this is really from Hannah over to Oyen down to almost Brooks. This is really just east of Brooks, but in Brooks you'll get the fog as well. Everywhere in southern Alberta will have fog patches, but it should be most dense in these areas, basically east of Brooks and up through Hannah and Oyen. All right. When we look at what's happening out there, that's the system on the way, and it's going to push in from the south. So areas to the far south are going to see more significant snowfall than what we're looking at getting in Calgary, for example. The further north you go, the less snow we're going to get from this, but it should be fairly significant in Calgary, just not as big of a snowfall as the last one we had. All right. Timeline on this, by 1 in the afternoon tomorrow, that's when it'll start to move into Pincher Creek, Crow's Nest Pass. By about 5, it starts to push into the Lethbridge area. And then by about 7 p.m., that's when it should start to make its way into Calgary. It may start off light, but it will intensify, especially in the overnight hours and in through early Friday morning. And that's when you look, it will encompass all of the south pretty much. This will be out Friday afternoon for Calgary, and then it'll take some time to work its way out of the far southeast corner on Friday. When we look at amounts and what we can expect, again, to the south, we're going to see more. 20 centimeters expected up to. In Pincher Creek, again, this model does overestimate a little bit, but this is certainly possible. 24 centimeters in Milk River and around that 20 mark, Pincher Creek over to Lethbridge, so this corridor. 7 centimeters, anywhere from 5 to 7 to the north. So High River up through Calgary, Medicine Hat, same type of idea. You're looking at 5 to 7 centimeters from this. -6 will be our high for tomorrow, and again, that snow starting at about 7 p.m. carrying into Friday morning. By Friday, a high of -10 and still -8 by Saturday. That's your Action Furnace 5-day forecast.
That's always a fun thing to do.
38th, wow.
Can you believe it? I know. Well, we're going to kick things off with a very talented one-man band. Well, he had the help of a piano-playing skateboarder there, but this is Finn Draper. He is a very multi-talented musician, playing I Want You Back by the Jackson 5 on the piano, on the drums, on the glasses of water. He's got it all going there. He sounds great.
He does.
And look how happy he looks. I love that part about it.
How long will that take today?
He's so creative. I don't know. If you have a brain that works like that, maybe no time at all. I don't know.
Maybe.
Well, now to someone who seems to only have a one-track mind.
Release your inhibitions, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for.
That's not what she was looking for. She read that gesture wrong. This woman's boss wanted her to hand over the folder. Instead, she thought, oh, you want to make a little heart with your hand. Yeah. I don't think you're actually allowed to hit someone in the workplace.
No,
but
no.
This Gen Z gave her millennial manager what she wanted eventually.
Just ask for the folder next time, right?
That's right. She thought they were going to have a little moment there. Nope. Well, finally, Gen Xers can probably relate to this guy.
I'm starting to hit the age where if somebody asks me how I slept and I go, not great, and they go, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Why? I can tell them it's because I ate a chocolate chip cookie way too late. and they know exactly what I'm talking about.
So sad. A lot of people can probably relate. Oh, getting older. It just the aches, the pains, the sweets that throw you off.
Oh, don't I know?
Probably cheese, probably a glass of wine. All those things before bed, and suddenly you're not sleeping well.
Used to be okay, I can tell you that, but yeah.
When you're 20, nothing disrupts your sleep.
Now I just want a cookie. Here's your Skywatch weather cam, and the winds are calm right now. The clouds have started to roll in. They will continue to roll in further for tomorrow ahead of this system that's on the way. Now, for Calgary specifically, we're looking at less snowfall this next system than what we got on the last round. But for areas to the south of Calgary, you're looking at more snowfall than what you got the last round in some cases. All right, currently we are sitting at -5. Today's high was -2. This is not including wind chill. With the wind chill, Calgary feels more like -7. Medicine Hat feels more like -13. And the winds are calm enough in Lethbridge that it just feels like the base temperature of -5. Fog advisory in place. Hannah over to Oyen, down to almost Medicine Hat. Already some dense fog really starting to build in. Now, all communities are likely to see fog patches in southern Alberta tonight through tomorrow morning, but it will be most dense in these areas and visibility will be greatly reduced. Here's the next system on the way. I want to talk about snowfall totals just to remind you and timing. So by tomorrow afternoon, just after the noon hour, it should start to push into Pincher Creek, and closer to 4 p.m. push into Lethbridge, and by 7 p.m. start to push into Calgary. Ahead of this, you may see some isolated flurries, but you're looking at the more consistent snowfall later in the day through the overnight hours and in through parts of Friday as well. So areas further to the south, that's where you're looking at the heaviest amounts, 24 centimeters in Milk River, 20 Pincher Creek over to Lethbridge, and Calgary anywhere from 5 to 7 centimeters of snow certainly possible. Your 24-hour forecast is brought to you by Action Furnace. Fix right or it's free. And wind chill will be a key thing for tomorrow morning. It will feel closer to almost -20 when off to work and school. Keep that in mind. And by tomorrow afternoon, by about 4 p.m., that's when you may see a few flurries, and by 7 it should be more consistent snowfall, 5 centimeters expected tomorrow night. Tara?
Thank you, Danielle. Of course. Okay, Glenn, thank you for that. That's great. Danielle, we'll give you last word on the weather because it's getting a little bit colder.
Yes, colder. Temperatures will regulate for next week and get better, closer to normal. But until then, it's cold, wind chill's an issue, and snowfall's on the way once again. Now, the last round in Calgary, we got anywhere from 15 to 20 centimeters, so we won't get that much. But we'll get anywhere from 5 to 7 centimeters, so still enough that you'll have to shovel. -6 is our high for tomorrow, -10 for Friday. That's not including wind chill, and still cold for Saturday at -8. Closer to that freezing mark, though, for Sunday, and will finally be above freezing to kick off next week. Now, when you're looking at timing for snowfall, it's really in Calgary specifically, we're looking at most of it 7 p.m. to about noon. So 7 p.m. tomorrow to noon on Friday. Weather window brought to you by Lux Windows and Doors, crafting quality windows and doors for your style, budget, and Alberta's climate. And Val Moyer sent this one in just east of Cayley. And yeah, snow is not the best to drive in, but look how stunning it can be.
Makes for a very pretty prairie shot. Gorgeous. Thanks for your company tonight. We hope you have a terrific evening, and we'll see you again tomorrow.